I'm Jenny Zahn. I'm here with FloTrack at the running event, and today we're talking to Athletic Brewing and Run Ambassador Ken Rideout, who is a world-class marathoner and a world-class dad, we just learned, 4 kids. But today we're going to talk a little bit about his running career, his involvement with Athletic Brewing, and just get into all the crazy stories that he must have from many years of doing everything from boxing to ultras. So Ken, take us back to the beginning. I know you started kind of not with running, and
Right.
tell us about how you transitioned into doing what you're doing now.
Yep, I played football and hockey in college at Framingham State outside of Boston. And long story, but I moved to New York, started working in finance, got addicted to opioids, spent 10 years as a functioning drug addict, 24/7, round the clock, small bouts of sobriety for a month here, a month there over the course of that decade. And when I met my wife and we started planning having a child, I was wallowing in my addiction and decided that I was either going to get sober or end my life, and I didn't want to die, so I got sober, and I used running as a tool to, in many ways, to combat my addiction. I used the running not just as a way to kind of detox and withdraw from the drugs, but also for 90 minutes to 2 hours every single day for several years, I would spend time by myself running, thinking about what I was doing, and not sit alone thinking about why I should possibly get high. And the running became a source of pride, and slowly over time, through running 10 miles a day for years at a time, you can't help but to get better. And as I started to improve and I started doing races, and I started to move up the rankings, and eventually I started winning races. And once I felt the rush of winning a race, I was like, hell yeah, I'm a winner. I'm good at something. And I jokingly tell people all the time, I'm not really a good runner. I'm just like world-class trier. I'm just trying hard. That's the only real difference between, I think, what I'm doing and a lot of my peers that might not be having the same results, is I'm just training more. And it's a direct correlation with running, which is what I love about it. Your results are directly correlated to the training that you do. And I always say that a race is like a beauty pageant. That's just where I get to go and show off everything I've done. Like, hey, look at all the training I've done. Look how fit I am. The race is like the reward for all the suffering that's done in kind of solitude and anonymity.
Yeah, that's incredible, and a great story and a great connection as well to Athletic Brewing. So
Yeah.
what drew you to the brand, and how do you think it resonates with you personally?
Yeah, so like I said, as I got sober, I still like to go out and be social, and not that I never have a problem doing what I march to my own drummer. I don't worry about peer pressure. I'm too old for that. But I did like the feeling of having a beer after a workout, and beer, I think, has a lot of recovery value. There's a lot of good calories in there, especially after a long run. And yeah, I hit it off with Bill Schufelt. I think we have a lot in common, and I love everything the brand stands for. It's been a pleasure to work with these guys, and yeah, I couldn't be more proud of all the partnerships that I've forged over the years through running. I would say Athletic Brewing is one of my most proud partnerships. We really, I think we resemble a lot in terms of core values for what I stand for and what the brand stands for.
Yeah, and I know you just had a crazy year. You tried some new things. Why don't you tell people about what happened in Mongolia?
Yeah, so I had set out as a goal to win the 50 and over category in all the major marathons, and I won New York, Boston. I won in New York, Boston, Chicago. I got second in Berlin and second in London, and then I won Tokyo in March. So when I went to Tokyo and won this past March, I was kind of looking for a new challenge. And when you've gone through a marathon build and have all that fitness, it's such a shame to then get out of shape. And I was talking to a friend of mine called Scott Daru, who was the president of Equinox, and he said he was doing this race, the Gobi March, across the Gobi Desert in Mongolia. And I just kind of on a whim was like, dude, I bet you I can win that race. And he laughed and was like, haha. And for whatever reason, I then sent a text to my friend Rich Roll, and I was like, hey, Rich, Gobi March, what do you know? And he's like, oh man, be careful. Someone died there once. It's very dangerous. And I told him on his show recently, I said, all I heard was, that's too much for you. That's too dangerous. You better be careful. You might die. And I was like, F you, I'm winning. And I literally just emailed the race director with 4 weeks to go. You know, most people were training for like a year or two. And so in the course of 4 weeks, I had to learn what it's a self-supported race, 6-day stage race, a predetermined distance, 20 to 50 miles every day. And you had to have you had to carry everything except water in a tent. So I had to carry a sleeping bag, any clothes you might want, food, and that's heavy, you know, for a week's worth of supplies. And so I got some backpacks, loaded them up with bottles of water and towels to keep them from moving around. And I just started running 10 miles minimum every day for 4 weeks with the backpack. I did the long run on the weekend. And yeah, I showed up there not knowing what the hell I was doing. And had these like two voices in my head. And I'm in the process of writing a book. And one of the titles I'm thinking about is 51%. Because every decision we all have voices in our head, right? There's the self-preservation, there's that voice of like, don't do it, you're gonna get hurt, you're gonna embarrass yourself, you're gonna lose. And then the other like alpha voice that's like, F this, we're gonna kill everyone, we can do this, we can win. And that voice only has to be 51% of the narrative to get the majority, to get you moving in the right direction. So I think about that with everything. Every decision, it's like the voices in your head. If you're considering something, then you have an internal dialogue going on. And whatever side of the argument has 51% of the votes, that's what's happening, good or bad. So I had that narrative and I convinced myself that I could do this. And I was scared to death. I was so concerned about embarrassing myself. I told so many people, and then I was lucky enough to have brands like Athletic Brewing support me and help kind of offset some of the expenses associated. I had to buy a lot of equipment, fly to Mongolia. And I was telling my wife, as nervous as I was, it's crazy. It's like a movie. The minute I started walking onto the jetway, I was driving to the airport almost in tears. There was nothing about this where I was like, ooh, it's going to be a fun adventure. Nothing. I was like, what the F? Why did I do this? Oh my God. Like I was really concerned and anxious. When I walked onto the jetway at the airport, I literally could feel myself like, oh hell yeah, we're gonna get them, we're killing them. And I started to get not excited but aggressive and like feeling like I was going into combat, for lack of a better term. I was like, it's time. And it's like, you know, the expression that the coward and the hero feel the same exact emotions. The only difference is how we react in the face of these circumstances. Everyone feels the same thing. Like, you know, you get up to bat for the first time, like, oh my God, please don't let this pitch hit me in the face. Please don't hit me in the back. But the hero's like, yeah, that might happen, but I'm going to drill this right back at the pitcher. And I just got into like that mode of like, it's go time. We're doing this. And I was all business. I mean, the people there probably thought I was a little bit crazy because it was like, you know, it was a little cliquey. Everyone knew each other, but no one knew me. And one of the Irish kids told me eventually, like, oh yeah, these guys thought they were gonna break you down slowly over time. And I was like, you don't break me down, I break you down. And he was laughing. So on the last day I was winning, I won by 90 minutes. And on the last day it was 5 miles. And he said, dude, for 90 minutes, you can walk, you won. This is a ceremonial thing. It's like, I said, this is not ceremonial, it's a race, right? He's like, oh yeah, it's a race, but like, you can let someone else win the stage. I was like, I would never disrespect this leader's jersey and let someone win. You can win, but only if you can kill me, because I will die to win. And sure enough, I ran like 5-minute miles for the last 5 miles with this backpack. All the food was gone, but I still had my basic supplies. You couldn't abandon them. We were out in the middle of nowhere, right? You couldn't just litter. So I won the last stage, won the race, and yeah, I mean, even when I talk about it now, I can't believe I did it. It was shocking.
So compare that recovery to like a typical marathon. What was that like?
Yeah, I mean, I lost 12 pounds while I was there because I was burning 10 to 12,000 calories a day. I was measuring everything on Whoop so I could see it in real time. I did carry my phone because there was no reception, but I had a small foldable solar charger that I used to charge, like my Garmin watch, my phone so I could listen occasionally. I would listen to music if I was by myself. I mean, I was by myself on the 50-mile stage for like, several hours. So I was charging my Whoop so I could see what my daily strain was 20.7 every day. If you wear a Whoop, it only goes to 21. It was like astronomically high. I think I was like the top 1% of everyone in the world for the whole month of that month I was there. And so I was, I could track, okay, I'm burning 10 to 12,000 calories a day, but I only have 2,500 calories with me. And there was no more, there was no place to get food. It was, you had what you had. So everything had to be very strategic. And that's what I was nervous about, because with experience, you learn a lot of this stuff. I had no experience, so I was like, I know I'm gonna make mistakes. I'm either gonna be carrying too little or too much. As it turned out, I probably had too little. In the last couple of days, I really didn't have any food. I could scavenge for stuff if people were throwing it away. If someone took too much, I could find something here and there, but it was not substantive. And when I got home, I was freaking drained. I've never noticed that kind of fatigue before. It was probably a month before I felt normal again on my 10-mile run. But again, day after the race, normally I run 10 miles every day. Day after a marathon, hurricane, tornado, 10 miles. But the day after that race, before I flew home, I only ran 4 miles in Mongolia, in Ulaanbaatar, in the inner city. It was crazy. Got on the plane, flew home, and then I think maybe second or third day I was back to my 10-mile routine. But that's how I can tell where I'm at, because that's my routine. So that 10 miles was initially really hard. The recovery was crazy.
Wow, yeah, I can't even believe you ran 4 miles after doing that. That's amazing.
It's like active recovery. I don't know how people don't do it. I'd get so sore if I didn't, keep moving.
Yeah, wow. So are you gonna do anything like that ever again?
No. I do want to do a 50-mile race and a 100-mile race just to see what I can do, because after I won that, when I was talking to Rich Roll, I was like, Rich, I'm not trying to be funny, but like, what else can I do if I try? Like, could I win Badwater? Could I win Leadville? And I said, I know right now the ultra community is going to be looking at like, F that guy, you can't win this. Cool, I get you. But if I don't believe it, why should anyone else? That's the first step of like winning anything, is you have to believe that you can do it. And so those are some of the things that I'm thinking about doing next. Marathoning has kind of run its course. I won the Myrtle Beach Marathon the day before I turned 50. And, new challenges. I'm always looking for something new, but I wouldn't say I enjoyed the race, but I definitely enjoyed the process of getting out of my comfort zone and trying something new.
Yeah, and it sounds like you still have some goals on the horizon. Are there any definite ones? And also, do you have any upcoming races?
I'm gonna run the Memphis Marathon on this coming Saturday. No pro field. Anytime there's no pro field, you always have a chance at the win. So I'm gonna try to win that. Anything less than a win will be a failure. A lot of people don't like to talk about how they really feel. And I think that creating accountability for yourself and speaking your truth into the world, there's something empowering about it. So yeah, I'm gonna try to win the Memphis Marathon on Saturday, and then like I said, I'm gonna probably do a 50-miler next and maybe a 100-miler. If you got any ideas, let me know. Any race organizers out there, if you want someone to come and make noise and rattle cages, I'm your guy. I'm always looking to like stoke the flames.
I heard about a really tough stage race in the Atacama Desert. But it sounds like you're not in the business of doing those anymore.
Oh no! I've had the Racing the Planet. They have one in Atacama. They have one in Jordan. They have a bunch of different races. And they've asked me to come and do these. I've gotten a lot of invites to do it. It's not my thing. I'm a baby. Like, I need 3 showers a day. I want to stay at the Four Seasons. Like, honestly, I'm a big baby. Let's put back into a corner. Like, I'll fight to the death. But given my druthers, like, no, I don't want to sleep in a tent. I want to sleep in a posh hotel. I've spent my time in like roughing it. I worked in a prison for 4 years. Like, I don't want to like be rough anymore.
And if you could do it differently, the training leading up to that big stage race, what would you do differently?
Honestly, nothing. I won by a lot. I wish I had known a little bit more about the food. I would have been more strategic with food. I would have probably taken more fat-heavy food. Like, someone at some point gave me some like vacuum sealed sardines, which doesn't sound very good, and I don't really like sardines, but when you're in fight mode, you're looking for calorie dense foods, and those things, like, they weren't as bad as I thought they'd be. But some of the Italian kids had like different foods packed in oil, so the oil is like heavy calories. So I could have done some things differently with the calorie consumption, and I could have definitely streamlined my equipment. I didn't know anything. Like, guys had their friggin' toothbrush cut in half, and everything, like all the patches were ripped off the bags. And a Navy SEAL told me that. He's like, you know, he came in, he was like, I cut all the tags off of all my bags, and it weighed like over a pound just from the labels. And I was like, oh shit, that's good. Like, you can really get focused on it. So I think in hindsight, I wish I was a little more professional about it. I don't like looking like the, you know, like, there's the new guy. Every single thing he has is brand new. You know what I mean? So, you know, live and learn.
Well, you were the new guy, but you were also the first person across the finish line.
Yes,
so
yes.
Congrats. What a crazy accomplishment. We can't wait to see what you do next, and good luck in 2024.
Well, thank you. I'm a huge fan of FloTrack and everything you guys do. I like flow grappling, all of it. I'm a huge fan. I love to see you guys continue to grow the brand. And I'm not getting paid to say this. I mean this sincerely. I love people leveling the playing field to be like, your grappling coverage is crap. Flow grapple's taken over. Flow wrestling, all of it. I love it. And I love the FloTrack coverage. So please keep doing what you're doing.
Well, thank you so much. And if you were going to stay through the week, you could come to our jiu-jitsu event that we're having in town on Thursday.
Oh, I know. I wish. I have a podcast called The Fight with Teddy Atlas, and we've interviewed every champion from the UFC, Dana White, Jake Paul. Like, we cover combat sports, so I'm very familiar with Gordon Ryan and all the guys that live and train in Austin. So yeah, I'd love to come back and do something. And if you ever need an injection of personality for any of your track events on the mic, please consider me. I would love to cover some track events for FloTrack. I can cover track and field. My man Trey Hardy can give me a whole breakdown. The two-time decathlon world champion. I talk track and field with him all the time. He actually just texted me, and he was like, let me know if you need any insight on track and field coverage to like get yourself a job at FloTrack. So I say it in jest, but I'm serious. I want to like call track meets.
Well, we got your number now. Thank you so much, Ken.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate you guys.